Today we're gonna make a dino arena. And this is fight to the death, so I don't think I'm gonna make a good enclosure for him.
He won't let the haters win.
Is the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 really who we think it is? There's no denying that the Spino from the movie, as well as the real-life creature, have been under constant duress due to the seemingly ever-changing paleontological findings on how the animal actually looked and acted. Oh, and you know, killing the series' mascot sure didn't help either. Whether it was ever the intentions or even a thought of the creators of Jurassic Park 3, many explanations have been formed by fans and the members of the paleo community as to how this Spinosaurus was so much more powerful and larger than the T-Rex. The theory that stuck the most, especially after Jurassic World took hold of the reins of the franchise, is that the Spinosaurus was actually the first hybrid dinosaur that the mad scientists at InGen threw together. One glimpse at the most recent paleo depiction of what the Spinosaurus could have looked like compared to the monster that we got in the movie, and you could see how the hybrid claims made a whole lot of sense. Real quick, this render animation of the Spino was done by a longtime friend of the channel and amazing artist Zool. More to come on him later, but if you like this Spino and want to see more, I'll leave links to his work in the description so you can reach out to him if you have any projects you may need help with. The Spinosaurus was said to be not on InGen's list in the movie, meaning that its creation was done under some sort of shady conditions. But was it truly the first ever hybrid dinosaur in Jurassic Park history? Camp Cretaceous Season 3 may have finally answered this question for good, and that's the topic for this video. So let's not waste any more time, let's get to it. So let's go to Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Now this series may look like something for younger audiences, but it's actually been one hell of a joyful series for all ages, especially due to all the juicy lore and Easter eggs spread throughout its run. Revealed in the most recent Season 3 was a monstrous hybrid dinosaur called the Scorpius Rex. After the deadly new dinosaur began its rampage across the island, it was eventually discovered that Dr. Wu himself stated that the Scorpius was indeed the first ever hybrid dinosaur introduced into the world, destroying the popular fan theory of the Spinosaurus being the first hybrid dinosaur created within the Jurassic universe. There is the long shot that the Spinosaurus was a hybrid and that Dr. Wu didn't know about it, but there's no evidence that supports another lead scientist making the calls at InGen. So when the Spinosaurus cracked the T-Rex's neck, there was no hybrid advantages given to the beast. But that doesn't mean that the Spinosaurus was not augmented in other ways during its development. Let's go back to the paleo representation of the Spinosaurus. Now, back in the early thousands, when Jurassic Park 3 was released, the appearance the movie showed of the Spino wasn't all that inaccurate due to the scarcity of Spinosaurus fossils found till that time, with the most complete fossils being destroyed during World War II during a bombing run. There wasn't much to go off when recreating the animal, so throwing all the known features like the sail and the elongated jaw on the body of something like a beefed-up Rex certainly created an animal that looked more like a monster than anything else. Maybe not perfectly accurate, but really good for movies. Fast forward 20 years later and a few discoveries later, and we now have a much different idea of what it could have looked like. Certainly not as threatening as the beast who chased Alan Grant all around the island, right? So with that, it's safe to assume that the film creators designed the Spinosaurus to be accurate enough to that time's scientific views, and really just didn't know any better. End of the day, the Spinosaurus looked really cool and perfect for a movie. But in canon, the scientists of Jurassic Park, like Dr. Wu, would have certainly had much more knowledge and information of the creature. They likely knew that the Spinosaurus in its truest biological form was not scary enough to attract future guests to the park. And like Dr. Wu says himself, none of the dinosaurs on the island were ever truly real to their ancestors' standards. So in hopes of making the Spinosaurus a true attraction, Dr. Wu may have issued that certain physical and emotional augmentations be performed on the Spinosaurus specimen without adding any other animal's DNA. A more powerful and upright body capable of inspiring awe, enhanced jaw strength, more dexterous and capable arms, and a vicious, almost serial killer-like attitude in hopes of putting the fear in everyone's eyes when they first witness it. The Spinosaurus probably would have been created likely during the late 1980s or early 90s in the lore. But there is the odd chance that it was developed after the events of the first movie, as InGen stayed on Isla Sorna for some time after the first island's collapse. During this hectic time in InGen's life, attempting to create something more mighty than the T-Rex in hopes of maybe saving the company could have been a likely route to take. Oh, if it wasn't for another hellish hurricane also destroying Isla Sorna and InGen's operations there. So were we wrong about this Spinosaurus being a hybrid? The answer to that is yes, after what was revealed in Camp Cretaceous. But that doesn't mean that the Spinosaurus wasn't a highly augmented mutant dinosaur of sorts, using the creature's own DNA, but amplifying certain genes and the genetic makeup in order to make the animal grow into a true monster. A comparison that could be made here are the velociraptors in the franchise. They are really only velociraptors in name when you take a look at them after.
Okay, 2 dinos at a time.
Dr. Henry Wu. I'm a scientist. You might call me an artist, a sculptor. My sculptures are living, breathing dinosaurs. The Indoraptor. This is a dinosaur created with a purpose. It can even see in the dark and uses echolocation to find its prey. Now, nature might eventually have created the Indoraptor, but I got there first. Is it dangerous? Yes. But then so is science. What can I say? The Indominus Rex remains my most inspired creation. Nature can create a dinosaur, but only I